Good evening, everyone. I prepared a short 12-slide PowerPoint presentation that provides a concise overview of Module 4 and the assignment that's due on March 30th. The process, the assignment really focuses, hold on a second, on the process. Assignment actually focuses on two aspects. One is helping you become more familiar with andragogy and the process model that's associated with it, and also to develop document review and analysis skills. These are those skills that you were introduced to by Philip Adu last week, where he did, I think, a very thorough introduction into document analysis and content analysis. And that actually serves as a foundation, I think, for this assignment. So just to review, you're going to be asked to find 3 syllabi, community college syllabi, and conduct a document analysis to determine what evidence, if any, exists that the faculty member is incorporating the andragogical process model into their teaching practices, as you can determine by looking at their syllabi. So after doing the review, you're going to write a brief report, 1 page, that summarizes the findings as a result of this content analysis / document analysis. So why a syllabi? So we thought that using a syllabi would be a good way, a good frame to see how a student-centered model of active learning is demonstrated in how the faculty member documents the learning experience for the student. So from, you'll see as in the short presentation how we define andragogy, but we know that syllabi has traditionally been considered the standard step in crafting courses and teaching college students, and it serves as an operational roadmap. Oftentimes we refer to it actually even as a contract. So the course syllabus, as we all know, lays out answers to common course questions: course title, when and where the courses meet, who's the instructor, topical material that's going to be covered, what the course learning objectives are, course policies, etc. Things that we're all familiar with. In this assignment, obviously, we're going to then do an analysis beyond some of the more logistic-related aspects of the syllabi, and really looking at it from the student's perspective as an adult learner. So let's just look quickly at the definition of andragogy, and hopefully most of you have done the readings and are familiar with this. So this is just one of the many different ways it's been presented in the reading. So andragogy focuses on the adult and is based on 6 assumptions: the need to know why they need to learn something, that is, why the student needs to learn something, the adult learner's self-concept, their prior experiences, readiness to learn, and orientation to learning and motivation. So these are some of the basic core principles of andragogy. Another author describes it along this way: adults need to know the why of learning. Adults learn through trial and error, i.e. experience. Adults should own their own decisions about learning. Adults prefer learning that which is immediately relevant to their lives. Adults learn better from problem solving, problem-based than content-based environments. And adults learn better with intrinsic versus extrinsic motivators. And again, I think this all kind of comes back to this being a student-centered experience. So what this assignment is going to ask you to do, and what I'm asking you to do, is to follow the process outlined by Philip in his video lecture, and also that you should be able to access in the Research 1 course. I know Christine posted the handout that he used, and so this kind of just provides that overview. And in this presentation, I'm going to kind of borrow this as the model for you to, that I'm suggesting you use. For those of you that may have already begun this assignment prior to Flip's presentation, that's okay. I'll accept, however, whatever approach you used in the document analysis, as long as it's a logical one and one that I can understand and one that you can explain, you know, within the context of what you submit. So let's get started. So on the step 1 and step 2, which is to examine the theory model that you plan to use, which is andragogy. I think that one, based on the readings, you should already have a good understanding of that. The next is to state the research question that you plan to address. And that kind of goes back to how is andragogy process model reflected in the syllabus, which is essentially the research question, if you will. The step 3, which I'm going to share now, is the code frame that he referenced. And so I thought it would be helpful to you if I used the same layout that he did. And what I did was, well, this may look very familiar to his, the content has changed. So under the themes, I'm referring to it as the andragogy themes, and there I listed the 6 assumptions that we referenced earlier. And the question is, based on the andragogical process model, what evidence, if any, exists that the faculty member is incorporating this model into their teaching practices? And then this we'll look at through the syllabi. So the 6 themes are: the learner needs to know why they need to learn something. Second assumption, the learner's self-concept. Third assumption, the learner's prior experience. Fourth assumption, the learner's readiness to learn. Fifth, the learner's orientation to learning. And 6th, the learner's motivation. And so what I did was I identified the codes that I would use in reviewing a syllabi. So for example, under the assumption 1, I'll be looking for words, terms that address the purpose of the assignment and the learning outcome of the assignment is explained. And I'll look at our assignments are connected to the learner's life experiences, and so forth. And I've done that across. And so this is my perspective. This is my code, and what I'm suggesting. If you want to use these, that's fine. If you want to develop your own, that's fine also. But I thought to be helpful to you, I provide this as kind of a baseline. So if you wish to use this and move forward, and if you can make your own interpretations based on the way I present it, I will be fine with that. So once you've identified the frame, once you've identified the syllabi, then you're essentially going to follow the steps as outlined by Philip, Dr. Adu. So first is to review the entire syllabus to gain proper understanding of the context. And that's kind of referred to, covered in slide 4 of this presentation. And then you just start the coding process. So I'm not going to read what's here on the slide, except I'll reference you again to the document and to the video that Philip prepared, which kind of gives you, I think, a very clear way to approach it. You're then going to go through the process that he outlined of compiling all the codes, and this, in your case, will be conducted manually, and then you will copy and select all the codes and paste them appropriately as he demonstrates. You'll arrange the codes alphabetically, then you will tally the codes, count them. And then with the output, one of the output documents that I like to see is then where you will then actually put count by count, simple by count, where you saw this present in the syllabus. You'll then, the assignment output, if you will, which are essentially step 10 and 11, is that you engage in analytical thinking, free writing, and you present your findings. And so what I'm looking for is for you to write a brief report that summarizes the findings from this process. Do you see evidence of andragogical process model being used in the syllabus, or don't you? And what is in there to support that? And that'll be obviously based on the tally and the findings that you see. You're gonna write a summary, 1-page summary for each syllabi, 1 to 2 page summary. What I'd like you to do is include the code frame and tally for each syllabi. So that last, the previous slide where it had kind of the numbers next to, that's what I'd like to see. And I would like you to submit each syllabus that was used for your analysis. I'm going to include a copy of this PowerPoint for you to look at when we meet on Tuesday and Wednesday. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. If you have any questions prior to that, you know where I'm at. Just shoot me an email or text, and we'll arrange a quick conversation. So I hope you find this helpful, and look forward to seeing and meeting with you on this Tuesday or Wednesday. Best wishes.